So what we're going to do now is we're going to start focusing a little bit on the language, and then we'll have some fun with this. Everyone hear the concept of power words? Hands up if you have. Hands up if you have not. Great. Both of you are in the right place. Power words is basically a way of using hypnotic language, so you can flow with language and do all kinds of wonderful things, right? But in order to be able to use power words properly, you can't learn them, memorize them, and write scripts down with it, because you'll interfere with your own process. You have to be able to just let it come. In order to do hypnosis well, I mean really well, you have to feel like you're standing on the edge of something, and you're about to fall off. If you take a comfortable step back, you can do good hypnosis. If you take too big a step, you fall off, and maybe you fly. But you're right on that edge. That's where genius begins. Who would like to start finding out how to stand on that edge? Anyone? Yes. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to move that around the room and do a couple of things. Please be very careful of the thing in the middle. In fact, can we have 2 assistants to stand by the table just in case people get too excited? 2 assistants, anyone? Steve, I'll need you to stay with the gentleman over here just because of the wheelchair. So can we have maybe Sean and one else? Johnny, come on up. There you go. Good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start warming you up a little bit. I want to have you guys walking around the room as fast as you can without bumping into things and poking people in the eye or anything like that. Just walk around the room and with determination. Have you ever seen, like, was it the Disney's The Sorcerer's Apprentice? You know how a sorcerer just, with conviction, will point at something and go, ah, and it'll start doing things, right? With the same kind of conviction, with the conviction of a true master hypnotist, I would like you to point at things and name them. Well, exactly what they are. This is a floor, isn't it? This is a wall. This is a rather Art Deco-y sort of ceiling. But I want you to go around pointing with absolute conviction, with volume, the louder the better, at a point where your words start tripping up a little bit. And keep going at that rate. Does that make sense to everyone? Now, as you're doing all this, I want you to keep a half an ear out in the back of your mind, because I will stop you as soon as I see you doing exactly what I need you to be doing, and we'll go straight into something else. Does that make sense? Yeah. Off you go. Who is starting to feel like it's kind of a weird exercise, but the more gusto you put into it, the more it kind of pushes you to an edge where it's kind of almost a little difficult to verbalize what you're doing. Is that correct? Anyone feeling that? Excellent. That's exactly the right place. Stay there. Now what I want you to do is to use that simple word, because. Everyone can say the word because? Because. Of the wonderful things he does. That's right. Only now, I want you to use that word because to associate 2 completely random ideas. And the more random, the more crazy, the better. There's a universe out there because pixies eat dust. Does that make sense to anyone? Yes. If it does, take your medication. If it does not, you're in the right place. The floor is pink because the stars have shiny things that are bright. I'm hopefully making less and less sense. And I want you to go around, and I want you to meet someone. You'll shake them by the hand. You'll make one of these wonderful statements like, the sky is blue because your smile has power. And then they'll go right back at you and say something similarly unusual. And as soon as that happens, you bow respectfully as you do to a master hypnotist. You move on, and you find someone else and do exactly the same thing. Are you ready? Speed, volume, and enthusiasm of the essence. Off you go. Was that fun? Yes. Do you feel yourself a little bit on an edge? Yes. Who wants to go flying a little bit further? We're going to use the same principle with the word and, right? Santa Claus is great and I know it. Well, that makes too much sense. But to make it a little bit more challenging, we're going to use both the word because and the word and, mixing in these X and Y's, which are completely random things, in any way that pleases you, provided it makes no sense. The ships are in the harbor because God is merciful. And my shoes are great. Do you think I planned that one? You're right. So you understand the exercise. Same exact thing, only slightly longer version, because and. What's the first word? Because. What's the second word? And. Together they are? Because. Off you go. Who's having fun? Hands up. Excellent. Who's making no sense? Who feels like they're in a room full of madmen? Yes, excellent. All right, was it easy so far with those two, because and? Yes? Well, let's throw another one in. As soon as X, Y. As soon as the water pixies come, fairy dust will be free. Easy? Only this time, of course, you're doing all three. Oh, now we're having some fun. Because the woods are full of dark things, and I know someone inside. As soon as you realize your shoes aren't here, they will be. Off you go. Who's getting a little bit giddy with delight? Anyone? Who's feeling more and more on that edge we'll be talking about? But isn't it a fun thing, especially when you fall over? Yes? So, 3 of these is pretty easy to do, isn't it? Right? You've been kind of cycling through them. Who wants a challenge? Anyone? Yes! Let's do 2 more. Have 5 words of power all at once. Let's go with this one. X. X, which means Y. The world is small, which means it's big. Of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? And then we're going to add, let's have an easy one here. X, when, Y. So we'll get rid of this, we'll get rid of this, and we have it all there. 5 words of power. The first is what? Because. Well read. The second is? And. Third is? Yes. Fourth is? Please. Fifth is? When. And you know how to put them together, don't you? Yes. Off you go. So how are you guys doing? Everyone having fun? Yes. Feel like in a room full of madmen? Let me ask you this. Was it easier, though still difficult, to do all these 5 things than you thought it would be? Yes? And is it kind of a little difficult to speak nonsense? Yeah? It is, isn't it? So I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you, but not a lot. And I'll make it more difficult, but it'll be real easy at that point. Is that fair enough? Okay. Well, the first thing I want you to do is take this idea. Let's have a look at the little nice colors. Let's take this idea of the X in the equation. And I want you to put something in there that... No, let's switch around, actually. Let's do it this way around. Let's take the Y in the equation and make something meaningful out of it. So the X is still completely random. Pixies, fairy dust, universes, shoes, submarines, sandwiches, whatever you want. For the Y, I would like you to make a specific suggestion. What is one of the simplest suggestions you can give to someone? Sleep is one, relax is another. Let's go with relax right now because it gets a little repetitive saying sleep over and over. So now what you want to do is, in place of the Y, get the idea of relaxation in any way that you can. It doesn't even need to make sense properly, right? For example, there's a bus outside because you can relax. Does that make sense? Yes, but no. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It almost makes sense, but you shouldn't, right? And your relaxation is natural. As soon as you realize, as soon as your genes are on fire, you'll relax even more. Which means your relaxation is complete. The ship will move when you relax. So do you see how I'm fitting that idea of relaxation in any conceivable way, and some inconceivable ones too? And the only thing that's is staying random is the X. The Y, which is the relaxation, is staying constant. Does that make sense to you guys? No, but yes. That's a good answer. Good question.
So you want us to still go through all of...
I want all 5 power words, these are kind of power words up here, to be used. You can use them in any order you wish, provided all 5 are used per utterance. There's a world out there because your learning is important. The ship is, and you can learn. As soon as your shoes change color, you'll learn even more. There is air, which means you're learning. There is a table that is magnificent when you learn. Thank you. Does that make more sense? And I'm making it more difficult by choosing the same order. You can make any order you wish, as long as those 5 power words are being cycled through. There's another quick question, then we'll do the exercise.
Does it mean that all the 5 you have to include the word relax?
Yes, the Y's have to be replaced with relax. The X, you can have whatever you feel like. I don't care what it is. Honestly, I do not care. Does that make more sense? No, but yes, right? Off you go. Who enjoyed that? Was that a little bit easier to do than the one before? Yes? Now, isn't this weird? You're actually constrained. You have less choices. And yet it gets easier the more constrained you get. Isn't that strange? Would you like to make it, for me to make it harder so it gets easier again? Would you like that? So, let's take the X now and put another trance theme like relaxation in. What else do you feel when you have gone into trance? What kind of things have you been experiencing? Calm, yes? So we'll take the idea of calmness, and we'll take the idea of relaxation, and now we use our power words to combine them into a smooth, streamless stream of ideas. You can be calm because you can relax. Calmness and relaxation are both natural to you. And as soon as you feel the smallest amount of calming inside, your body will relax. You can calm your mind, can you not? Which means relaxation comes naturally. And you will feel calm when you relax. Because relaxation is so natural that as soon as you feel a small amount of calmness begin, there is more relaxation than before. And that means that the calmness gets to grow more and more. The calmer you get, the more you relax. The more you relax, the deeper the calmness moves through you. And every time you feel that calmness passing through you like a wave, notice how much more relaxed you get. And you do you not? Is there anything I've just done here that you could not do? You've been doing it. In fact, you've been doing the harder version because you've been trying to not make sense. And it's easier to make sense than not. So go ahead and make some sense now. Sit with a partner this time and speak to them meaningfully about calmness and relaxation, being sure to use as many of those power words as often as possible. And then, when you've said your piece, they get to do you. Off you go. So how are you enjoying that, folks? Was that good? Who found that easier to do than the other exercises? Think about it, folks. You're doing more, it's harder, but it's easier to do, isn't it? Have I fulfilled my promise so far? It's going to carry on like this. Who here, being the subject, you know that you're listening to these wonderful things people are saying and so on, who has sat down and thought, this person's pretty good. I kind of like what they're saying, and it makes a strange kind of sense. Anyone notice this? I invite you to consider the possibility that you're one of the people that everyone else is thinking that about. Because once you understand the simple, power words are simple, aren't they? You realize that these aren't the only 5 power words in the world. If you use these up, it's not that you can't do hypnosis anymore, right? technically these are known as conjunctions. They use the law of associations in sentences. They combine things in sentences. So you have hundreds, if not thousands of these in the English language. Every language will have variations of these. It just allows you to put concepts together. And when those concepts are hypnotic in nature, like the relaxation and the calmness, that means the mind is constantly being turned towards a hypnotic theme. And how else, or rather, what else can emerge from that than hypnosis? There's an old principle I'd like you to become familiar with, which is this: where attention goes, energy flows. And by that I don't mean some kind of qigong, strange magic type thing. Whether you believe in that or not is really immaterial for our purposes here. The energy that we're talking about is the mental energy. And you've all felt it at some point, haven't you? You're elated, it comes up. You're depressed, it goes down. You work hard, it's exhausted. You sleep well, it's rejuvenated. Would that not be fair to say? Whatever that mental energy is, whether you want to think of it in terms of glucose or you want to think of it in metaphysical terms, I don't care. That is the stuff that we work with. Where attention goes, energy flows. So we're going to move people's attention through ideas until those ideas become experiences. Those experiences become real, that creates a reality, and that is what hypnosis does. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Can you all do this? It may take a little more practice for some than others to get smooth, but you can all do this, can you not? Is that right? If you can do this, then you have the essence of what it takes to move someone's attention, which means you can move their mental energy to the way you need it to be, which means you can do hypnosis. You are now hypnotist. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. Because you just got there. I know, that's what the next day is about. So today, you're already ahead of the game. You know how to do an induction, do you not? You know how to speak to them hypnotically, do you not? What more is there to hypnosis than this? The rest is just icing on the cake. It's doing this better, more elaborately, more sophisticatedly, with slightly more nuanced ideas. But this is the heart of what you'll be doing. That's easy, isn't it? Now, before you all leave, there's one task I'm going to ask you to perform before you get outside. Assistants, can I all have you in numerical order again where you were early on today? So wherever you were early on when people met you, please stand there again, assistants. What I'd like you to do in order to leave the seminar is walk up to your assistant and do two things. Number one, you will tell your assistant the one thing that stands out most in your mind that you learned this morning. That's easy to do, right? The second thing you're going to do is grab someone else in your group, because they're all going to be congregating anyway. You can do this before or after you do your first thing. So the second thing could be first if you really wanted to. And you're going to do an instant induction on them. Nothing crazy, just sleep, deeper, deeper, great, feeling relaxed, come on back. It should take you 20 seconds, 10 seconds. And then you can go to lunch. Easy? So go ahead, find your assistants, and in 90 minutes, we're back here again, 90 minutes from now.